Hello Gemini, my gems. Welcome to your weekly reading with me, Cindy. This week, Gemini, is High Priestess week. So we're going to go into the deep, dark depths of the unknown. And I still have my orthodontic appliance, so I can try to sound like sexy and sultry and mysterious and cool, but I sound like Sylvester the Pussycat. So what are you going to do? So Gemini, we are going into Oracle decks. We're going into Oracle decks. We're going to ask what your potency is, what your kryptonite is, what your nemesis is, which makes you stronger, and what your next assignment is. Okay, so it's kind of a cool, and I'm finding this week, I wonder if it's because it's the first time I've ever done these High Priestess readings. It's kind of coming out like life as a whole for you, or, you know, just major things to think about as you've been moving forward in life and you continue to do. There might be points in it too where it's kind of like, oh, this feels like something that I've done in the past and I've been trying to work through that, or this is where I am now. That could definitely come through. There is an extended at the end as well. And in the extended, I go into the cyclical energy that you're sort of in. I go into with the tarot. I don't use any tarot cards in this one. It's all oracle cards. But in extended, I have tarot cards. I ask what from the past still pulls on you? What from the future is sort of trying to push you forward? How is this push and pull affecting you? And then the final question is sort of advice to allow all things to flow freely. So let's get started. But first, we must. That was a good resonance there. I felt that like through my core of my body. That was good. I like that one. And then it kind of created, as it got quiet, this it's, I don't know, I hear almost like, I don't know, it's the vibrational sound of the universe, the hum of existence. It's like it clears everything else out. And I can only describe it as, it's almost like if someone had a lawnmower going. And it was, you know, you're inside and it's outside, but it's quite a few houses away, and it's just like this far off hum. Anyway, so I'm going to start with the Witch's Oracle deck. I'm going to pull out a card for you. You will get the incantation at the end. I do want to give you the incantation at the end so you feel empowered after the reading. Card for Gemini, a card for Gemini. Ooh, baby! You got the skull. Ooh, that's a powerful card, actually. That's very powerful energy. It's the energy of like those from the past too. It's very ancestral, very spiritual. To wait to the end to really get all the information on that card. Going into my Starseed Oracle deck. I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going into my Return of Spirit Oracle deck, and then my Key Oracle deck. So we're going to ask what your potency is, your strength. Your kryptonite, which is your weakness, your nemesis, which is what actually makes you stronger, and your next assignment, or your path, or your journey. I'm really having trouble sort of pulling this off. Interesting. Wow. Ooh, wow. Interesting card to get at the bottom. The Golden Children. The inner child, tenderness, innocence, rare gifts is at the bottom. I haven't really been going into the bottom of the cards. The bottom of the deck. But, let's see. So, your potency here, you have forge, don't follow. Pave a new path, be the leader you wish you had. Oh, I love that card. I think that's so grand, right? I think that's one of the most wonderful statements that anyone could take on in their life. Be the leader you wish you had. So, you know, whether this is in work or you've had bosses that have been pretty shitty or not very cooperative, just for whatever reason, you just think you could have done things differently or things could be better, like you have a unique way of looking at things, then, you know, give yourself the opportunity to be that leader you wish you never had. Because people can make choices too. Like you can have a shitty parent, you can have a shitty spouse, you can have a shitty boss, you can have a shitty friend, you can have all sorts of shitty people in your life. And, you know, you gotta look at why they're there, help you grow. But yeah, like forge, don't follow. That's a very important statement too. This is your strength to look beyond things in the past that maybe didn't feel right to you, weren't good, to make it your own, to make it something that you see. You allow your uniqueness to come through in this. This is your potency to pave the new path. I really like the way she's kind of standing in this cosmic universal land and looking into like this, almost like the Garden of Eden on Earth. Creating too, like things that you feel from your deeper self. Beautiful things that you'd like, even if it's artwork, if it's poetry, if it's how you move through life, how you interact and engage with those around you. It's spreading that. It's spreading that beautiful cosmic bliss and helping to make the world better. Right? And, you know, I mean, I think a lot of people too that come to these readings are kind of aligned with that. But there's a lot of people that aren't. There's a lot of people that do get hung up and pulled down from negativity, the negative energy of people from their past. And they bring that forward. It's like, well, I was treated like shit all my life by these people. They did this to me or they did that. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to make it so easy for that person. That's not, why? Why not? I never understood that. I never understood that. Like, there's, I don't know, like it just seems crazy to me, you know, like, things to do with like, too, like how we raise kids or how we want our society to go. So many people, if you come up with a great idea that could make something better or easier or more equal to everyone involved, well, we never had it that way, why should they? Wow. Boy, if that attitude was what was left to guide us forward as a human race, we'd still be living like it was 1382, right? This is your strength, baby. You can do this for people. I like it. That's nice. Now, what's your kryptonite? Your weakness. Star ancestors, hidden secrets, lost wisdom. Look a little deeper. That's quite interesting. Maybe not connecting as deeply as you could with your own intuition. There's messages, there's things to be heard. Oh, there's things from the past that can be brought forward. That's interesting. Because this is sort of like, not necessarily looking to the past to create something, to the past, to create the new path that's being forged towards the future. But there are things to be learned and gained. Perhaps there's things that have been forgotten about the past that could benefit the future. That's an interesting concept. So it's having that balance, right? It's being the one that forges forward, that creates the new path. Because yes, things can be done better than they were in the past. But don't completely disconnect from that past. Hidden secrets, lost wisdom. Look a little deeper. Also, too, there could be looking at things that did not seem right in the past, but look deeper. Why were they done that way? Why did it happen that way? It doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be done that way now or moving forward, but understanding the wisdom behind how or why things happened in the past or were done a certain way will give you perhaps a greater understanding of where you're taking yourself or where you're taking others, because if you make a new path, someone's going to find it and start walking on it, right? Your nemesis, but it is what makes you stronger. You got the love. Hadarian energy, codependency, and boundaries. Oh, someone else had this card. I don't know if it was in the same spot too this week. I think it was in the same spot. So how this makes you stronger. So codependency, boundaries. Perhaps being in situations where you feel like, you know, even in the past or in the present, where you don't have much control on a situation. Like if you have a boss that's really difficult to work with, well, I kind of need my job. I need to just put up with it for now. And, you know, it is what it is. But starting to trust yourself to create better boundaries also. Like if there are connections around you that either make you feel trapped or confined, or you need to follow this way. It's this way. This is where you need to go right now. It's your nemesis. It's something that's difficult to work with, that you struggle with, but it does make you stronger. Maybe by seeing, even being held in some sort of energy or cycle where you feel kind of bound to it, you can't escape from it, you can't move forward. Because codependency and creating healthy boundaries is really important. Codependency can be one of the biggest issues for love and just compassion, to be freely moving. Because there's other things that are tied to it that don't allow it to be openly expressive. So it creates, it's making you stronger. I kind of want to say the frustration, the things that you deal with in life that perhaps make you move like this, with this sort of energy, they kind of trigger you to do that. So it builds your strength. As frustrating as perhaps it is, it does build your strength. Your next assignment or path or journey is activated earth, power places, ley lines, trust where you're led. It kind of feels like there's a path in front of you, and yet maybe you're not sure where to go or what you should do. I always think that this is interesting because these power lines throughout, like science now is finding these key lines around Earth where energy is quite, let's just say it's like increased a lot. These lines, it's been a long time since I've read about these, but on a lot of these lines, and particularly where they cross too, there's pyramids that have been built, and now they're starting to see pyramids are all over Earth from satellite images that nobody even realized that they thought it was a hill, you know, because nobody ever saw it from space. It's this hill that's been completely overgrown with vegetation, but when you see it from space, you can see the angle of this hill. It's a pyramid. It's something that was man-made. And these are all over the place. And then we have Stonehenge right here. So, I'm getting though, like in terms of your next assignment, I don't think you know what it is or where you're going. So release, kind of like if you're used to creating your path, if you are used to forging a path, you may be coming towards a path to follow. That's what I want to say. You may be coming towards a path. If you're busy forging a path through the forest, I'm making my own way, I'm making my own path. And maybe you come, oh, there's a path here. I don't want to follow. I want to make my own path. And you go, and then you come to it again. Like, dang. It's kind of like the universe is saying you might be needed in a certain area of other people's lives. There might be some, and not just their lives, but it will benefit you as well. The universe wouldn't lead you there. So it kind of feels like your next assignment is to see where the universe takes you, to see where you're led, because it may have a greater importance than you understand. Yeah, hidden secrets, lost wisdom. Look a little deeper. There might be something on that path. I don't think there might be. There probably is something on a path that you're coming towards that might have a deeper meaning than you even see at this time. No, I'm going to do it like that. That's how it came out. It's weird that I did that, but I can't see. The starfish card came out, and it came out upright, and I turned it upside down. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. That's not right. So I went to, I'm like, wait a second. I never do that. There's a reason that happens. So, oh. Forge, don't follow your strength. And the frog. It's watery energy. It's emotional. So your strength here, to kind of give more detail about it, is what really feeds your emotions, like the deep part of you. This is a good way to forge forward, I think, right? You're not being fed too much by your ego or by overthinking. This is like really coming from your deeper self, being in alignment with what you feel, what feels really good for you. And this cleanses you. It's a very cleansing and nurturing energy for you to partake in this. This is like really, this is your potency. You're potent in this. Look at this. Like if you think of this frog with the rain coming down, it's almost like a rainforest. It's a very lush, medicinal area. It can also be dangerous, but it is a very lush, medicinal area if you understand it and you know how to negotiate yourself through it. And this feels very much like that. Like you forging yourself ahead and even paving a path for a very cleansing, nurturing, I want to say cycles for you and cycles for others. Because you know when you make a path, someone's going to find it and follow it. I mean, that's a given. That's what happens with paths, right? So what is the intent of this path? If this is your strength, well, we sort of think about that. Like, what is the intent of this path? Because if my intent is coming from a true part of me, and it's really based on emotions that are quite healthy and quite cleansing, then if others follow that path, that is the energy that you're kind of gifting to those that come after you, right? You don't want this path to be forged by anger or resentment or hate, because then that would be the gift that you're giving. That's the path that you're creating. Your kryptonite, your weakness, star ancestors, hidden secrets, lost wisdom, look a little deeper, and you have the rabbit. I think the rabbit, like I see this as very cautious, kind of watching. There does seem like there's things from the past. There's some sort of hidden secrets in the past. You know, when we talked about trying to make things better, trying to make things in a better way, but not to completely isolate yourself from the knowledge, from the history of what occurred before. But there feels like there's an apprehension here, right? There's your weakness. This is your weakness because you are the forge ahead. Perhaps you feel this as your strength. I have to say, like, it's funny because I'm getting this and I'm thinking of myself, like, even when I walk my little dog Lily, she always is looking back. She's always looking back, and she'll catch a scent and she wants to go backwards. I'm like, no, you gotta go forward. You gotta go forward. You gotta go forward. So it kind of feels like it's like me walking the dogs. She's like, no, we're going forward. We're going, like, and how many times she's like, okay, that's enough. Now we're going forward. Like, maybe there's something really cool back there. Like, maybe she's got a good nose, so she's smelling something. I wish to God she could tell me what she smells, because I swear there's all sorts of stories about who walked here last night and who did what. But so it's like, you want to go forward. You want to go forward, but don't. There are parts of the past that are worth exploring. And you may even get like walking that dog like that. Like, oh wait, you almost walked past something here. So if you're so intent in forging forward, you might miss, like making this new path, you might miss these beautiful exotic flowers. And you didn't even see them. So, you know, take a pause from forging forward and look back at the beauty that was behind you when you were so busy forging forward. Now this is interesting. Your nemesis, what makes you stronger? Is you got the love, Hadarian energy, codependency, and boundaries. And this is where I pulled out the starfish and I reversed it. And it was a weird thing for me to do, but the starfish too is a little bit like the star card in the tarot. And that is making wishes, having a wish. But when it's reversed like this, it kind of makes me feel like that didn't work out. Like a wish not working out. Something that you wished for, you really hoped for, you coveted, planned for, strategized for, and it didn't work out. See, there can be codependency. That in itself can be a codependent energy. I'm dependent on this wish, or I really want this wish so much to come true. That becomes all of your focus, and when that doesn't work, it's like, oh, now what? But look, it doesn't all have to be, you don't have to put all your eggs into that basket, right? So this is part of making you stronger. So allowing the release too of things that you wished for that do not come to fruition. Allow the release, because it may seem like, well, you know, I thought I could manifest, I thought I could get what I wanted. But there's all sorts of lessons in this lifetime. And sometimes that can be the lesson in itself. And it's designed to help you become stronger. Less dependent on things happening or coming true. Activated earth. Power places, ley lines. Trust where you're led. And you've got the octopus. I love this octopus now. If you haven't seen it yet on Netflix, is the My Octopus Teacher. It is so cool. I always thought these creatures were pretty amazing, but you really appreciate the octopus. I'm really getting with, wow, yeah, okay, this came out last week, I think, with this card. It came out somehow, or maybe a couple weeks ago. See where you're led, see where you go. You're going to have a deeper appreciation for yourself, and I get that with this octopus now, from my experience with it and what I'm associating with this card. Is you are going to have a deeper appreciation for yourself and even other things outside of you that you kind of are like, oh, that's great, that's good. But this is really in depth, like a really deep appreciation. Understanding things, understanding yourself, other people, even places here on Earth, the importance of all of that and the magic that it produces that creates this entire ecosystem. Seems so simple for what everything is, doesn't it? Give me a better word for that one, guys. Like an entire, it's the kaleidoscope of life and how it all comes together. And you play like a piece in this puzzle. So sometimes too, like, let the giant hand of the universe place the piece where it needs to go at that time for that puzzle. So now I'm going into the LQ deck. LQ. Your strength, I already talked about the other two cards. So the one that's come out, the third one, is she who radiates knowing, ambition, and confidence. Yeah, that's like a lot of that, like coming through with this, right? Like paving a path here. This is your strength. Now, with that kind of energy behind it, I think it's really important. I think this also, like knowing, ambition, and confidence. This energy in itself can be detrimental if it's allowed to go all on its own in the direction it wants to go. It could turn, like there's a potential for this to turn very egotistical, or it's my way or the highway, right? With this. And I think that's why this frog is sitting in here, because the frog is reminding us about how important it is. What is leading this path? What is this path? Because others will likely find this path at some time, walk it and take it. What is the gift that you're leaving them? But also, to be this ambitious person, to be a forward thinker, having a deeper knowing in a way, kind of seeing the result at the end. So you know it's worth your investment. Now, the weakness, the kryptonite. Talked about the other cards. You got she who becomes, metamorphosis, transcend, and journey. That's interesting. The weakness is, wow. I find it interesting because we're talking about, like, this is reminding me kind of the past, the lost wisdom, the ancient energy. If you can look at it on a more kind of mundane level and be like just your life and you are what you're doing right now. Like you got up in the morning, you brushed your teeth, you made breakfast. Like, you know, I mean, maybe you're connecting at some point with these really deep energies, but most of the time we're just doing what we got to do, right, to get through the day. And we do different things that kind of bring us happiness and joy and interaction. So what I'm getting here with this card, which is really interesting, like this is your weakness, is linking this Metamorphosis Transcendent Journey card to the past is when you were coming out of a cycle, when it has changed you on a level that is sort of transcending you, bringing you to new heights, a new consciousness, a new awareness about who you are and what you'd like to do with your life. Maybe, like, you know, like this is like this beautiful butterfly coming out of the chrysalis, like not wanting to recognize, sorry, my singing bowl is getting active here, not wanting to recognize the caterpillar that was you in the past. The caterpillar is still kind of there. Like if you look at the body of the butterfly, it's still kind of there. It's just been transformed. So not to completely disillusion yourself from who you are in the past either. Because who you were in the past, maybe you don't even recognize that person. Like I think we could all do that. I think back to who you were like in high school or college, or who you were in your early 20s, or if you're in your 40s or 50s and now you're like looking back at who you were, like who was that person? What was I thinking? Or what was like, but still acknowledge who that was because it made you who you are now, right? It made you who you are now. So that is a level of self-love too. That I think is also, I'm not seeing it here, but I am hearing like a level of self-love and forgiveness for everything you were in the past that has made you become who you are now. So your nemesis, this is what makes you stronger. She who prepares, formulates, strategize, and devise. You know, it feels like when these things do not work out, the strength in that for you is coming up with something new. Okay, well, what can I do? It's not sitting in a negative energy or, oh, poor me. You know what, we are going to do it though. But it's at least not sitting there for too long. It's kind of like finally getting up and brushing the dust off and saying, okay, what can I do today? What can I do today? This dream, this idea is gone, but what can I do today? What is the new thing that I can start planning for myself? It is, and that kind of brings your your mental and your energetic self forward. It's not to say that you're not going to spend time feeling bad for yourself or feeling sorry for yourself. I think everybody will do that. It's how long you sit in there. Some people might sit in there only for a few seconds. Some people might sit in there for hours, days, weeks, months, years. You know, and it depends on the situation that you've been through, what's happened to you. But this is what strengthens you. It kind of gets you to look at things differently and start acting and behaving differently too. Like creating a new strategy here to find success and happiness. Your assignment and your path. Or your next assignment or journey path. We have the octopus. So what we got here is she who surrenders, chains, bondage, and release. Wow. Oh, you might even be holding yourself back a bit. Like by forging forward. It sounds funny, but you may be like, because it's my path, right? I got my path and doing my path, and you too. It is a strength for you to formulate and strategize and devise. Come up with, well, where would we go today? What will I do today? How am I going to do it? Somehow it feels like, because this card here, like trust where you are led. That is releasing a sense of bondage. Almost being aware. This is almost like the next assignment is making you aware that in some ways, all of the things that can play out as your strength can also play out as something that holds you in a certain direction that is not necessarily where the universe would like you to go. I mean, there's some people, it's like, it's only ever what I want to do. I have free choice. I'm going to exercise it. Yes, but you also have free choice to be so freaking stubborn. Like if you want to go off the cliff, that's where you're going. It's not necessarily the best thing for you, but I guess it's going to be your lesson, right? It's a little bit like that. Maybe not so harsh, but allow yourself to also the freedom. Don't just hold yourself to the path that you're making. See where it goes. Okay, so now we're going to get into this skull. Where is the book? Very interesting, you got that. Skull. One of man's oldest and most powerful symbols is a skull. It has a long and varied history of use with multiple overlapping interpretations, although commonly it is seen as a representation of death and mortality. Philosophically, it is viewed as the seat of intelligence, spirit, and the spark of human life. Meaning, a skull crowned by a wreath of roses is referred to as a carpe diem, a reference to the Latin phrase which is generally translated as seize the day. And this is the card's message to you. You've been overlooking the simple things and taking many things for granted. Be mindful of your mortality, realize the importance of each and every day, and make the most out of your time. As soon as I said that, I imagined when I had talked about, like forging this path through the woods. And, if you got a little lily with you, it's like, wait, mommy, there's some cool stuff over here to smell. No, we need to go forward. Just take a breather. Like, take a look at the beautiful flowers that you might have passed while you were forging ahead. The incantation. I recommend saying it 3 times to really bring out the power. I'm going to try to get it right the first time. Now is the time to uncomplicate my life, to enjoy simple pleasures and remove all the strife. Each day is a blessing and time quickly goes by. From now on my behavior I must rectify. Well, that's interesting. Well, there you go, Gemini. Interesting reading, guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to do that for you. I'm going to go and do the extended now. Like I said, if you're drawn to it, the link is at the top of the description. Until then, do be gentle with yourselves. Bye.